Welcome. Call the regular business meeting for Newman Crescent Unified School District to order. Roll call, Mr. Walk.
Here.
Mrs. Gonzalez.
Here.
Ms. Rudy.
Here.
Mr. Rivas. Here. And Mr. Cabral is here. Item 2, public communication and closed session items. Members of the public may address the board on items not on the agenda. Speakers will be allowed 3 minutes unless the time limit is waived by a majority of the board. The board will allow comments by members of the public on an agenda item during consideration of the item. The board may limit the total time for public input on each item to 20 minutes. With board consent, the president may increase or decrease the time allowed for public presentation depending on the topic and the number of persons wishing to be heard. The president may take a poll of speakers for or against a particular issue and may ask that additional persons speak only if they have something new to add. Complaints against specific district employees should be resolved through the district's personal complaint procedure. The right to address the board does not exempt the speaker from any potential liability for defamation. The proceedings of the board are recorded and are part of the public record. At this time, any member of the public wish to address the board on any closed session items for tonight? All right, seeing none, we'll go to closed session. Frank, what's the time, sir? 5:01 p.m. Welcome. Call the April 20th regular board meeting to order. Can we please stand for the flag salute? FFA students, go ahead and come on up. Lead us in the flag salute, please.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Item B, report out of action taken in closed session. There's no items tonight. Item 5, public communication, agenda and non-agenda items. Members of the public may address the board on items not on the agenda. Speakers will be allowed 3 minutes unless the time limit is waived by a majority of the board. The board will allow comments by members of the public on an agenda item during consideration of the item. The board may limit the total time for public input on each item to 20 minutes. With board consent, the president may increase or decrease the time allowed for public presentation depending on the topic and the number of persons wishing to be heard. The president may take a poll of speakers for or against a particular issue and may ask that additional persons speak only if they have something new to add. Complaints against specific district employees should be resolved through the district's personal complaint procedure. The right to address the board does not exempt the speaker from any potential liability of defamation. The proceedings of the board are recorded and are part of the public record. We have one speaker tonight, Ms. Claudia Diaz.
Mother of 4 OHS graduates. In less than 4 years, I'll also be an excited grandma as my grandson enters TK at Von Renner, of course. It is with high expectations and hope that by now you know where I'm coming from when I'm at the podium. Our students' needs and the people who impact their lives while at school. Our classified, our counselors, and our certificated. It's no secret that our nation as a whole is facing some very challenging times in our schools. Some of the students have a deficit in behavioral and emotional skills, academic gaps, chronic absenteeism, sorry, that's my Spanish in there, disengagement, mental health concerns such as anxiety, depression, and fear, just to name a few. Inadequate foundational skills due in part to schools having had to shut down in-person attendance during the pandemic. Screen dependence, social and economic dispositions, the rise in autism spectrum disorder, which approximately 1 in 31 children in the U.S. is currently identified with. The point I'm trying to arrive at with this information is that by saving every job, we can make a difference in our community. Some of these students are in our schools and classrooms, and they rely on that custodian that greets them during their day, that clerk that always makes time for a quick chat, that campus supervisor in your duty that engages with them and makes them feel safe, that instructional aide and program facilitator that works with them diligently and cheers them daily on through every task, that groundskeeper that serves as a guardian of safety and health, that cafeteria worker that serves more than a healthy meal with a smile, or that counselor who is always willing to listen, guide, plan activities, be a friend, and provide a safe place to talk or just sit when needed. I can go on about how every position each one of us holds is essential in making a difference in a child's education and life, but 3 minutes is not enough to go through the whole list. Sorry. With May 15th quickly approaching, I'm asking you to find a way to keep all our employees accessible to the students who smile, try one more time, and set dreams because of that one special employee that sees them, hears them, and talks to them like no one else can. As adults, we all have that one special classified employee, teacher, or counselor that helped us get through school, and we remember them fondly. The African proverb, "It takes a village to raise a child," is very much what we have on hand with enrollment dropping. We have a great opportunity to be a stronger and more effective village for our students by flipping the script. I understand you have a budget to maintain, and that's hard, but a child's education with people they trust and depend on to be there for them is just simply priceless. Thank you.
Thank you. I truly appreciate you coming every month. We really take your words of your advice, and we are diligently working to reduce the amount of people that will be potentially being laid off. The staff has worked very, very, very hard over the last 2-3 months to drastically reduce the number of people that are possibly impacted. So it's good news for everyone. So thank you for coming and fighting for them every single month.
Thank you for listening.
Absolutely.
I'm a little bit less scared.
Item number 6, approval of agenda. Could I get a motion to approve the agenda as listed for tonight?
I make a motion to approve the agenda. With,
Yeah, with the I and is it J?
Okay, remove I and J.
Yes, please, from the consent
Move it to
calendar.
action items. Hold on, let me check what letter. K and L. Action items, correct. So with those two items removed to the action items, could I get a motion to approve the agenda as listed with the removal of those two items to the action items?
I make the motion.
Thank you, Mrs. Gonzalez. Can I get a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Mr. Rivas. Mr. Watt? Aye. Ms. Gonzalez?
Aye.
Mrs. Cerruti?
aye.
Mr. Rivas?
Aye.
And Mr. Cabral votes aye. Item number 7, informational items. A, spotlight on YOLO.
Good evening, President Cabral, board members, Superintendent Pruitt, and cabinet members. As the proud principal of YOLO Middle School, it is my pleasure to highlight an exciting addition to our school, our new FFA chapter. Over the past 2 years, this program has grown into a valuable opportunity for students to engage in leadership, agriculture, and learning experiences beyond the classroom. What makes this moment especially meaningful is that the students you will hear from tonight will be our first ever cohort, the first to complete the full 2-year program at YOLO, with many more to come. At this time, I'm excited to introduce Mr. Rico and our students who will share their experiences as part of the YOLO FFA program. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone.
To the board members, thank you for having us here tonight, to the superintendent, and for Ms. Palacios to ask us to come and present to you guys tonight here. It is a great honor, and I believe that we're doing some great things, and we're planning on doing many more at YOLO Middle School with our agriculture program. So tonight I have 6 officers and 2 FFA members that are here to share some information with you of some of our past experiences this year and a couple things to come here in before the year ends. So I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to our FFA president, Mr. Nathan Hignite.
Good evening, board and community members. My name, as Mr. Rico said, is Nathan Hignite. I am the YOLO FFA's 2025-2026 school year president, and this is my officer team. Our vice president is Willow Whiteside. Our secretary is Cassandra Cortez. Our treasurer is, our reporter is Amaya Ortega for an interim. Our sentinel is Bentley Chavez. And our treasurer is Angel Kajle. The first thing that we'll be telling you guys about tonight is our ag classes. So at YOLO, we offer a full ag mechanics pathway where you get to learn about woodworking, electrical, and welding skills that are very helpful later in life. We also offer ag exploration classes and for 6th graders and for 7th and 8th graders. And we also next year plan to add an agri-science pathway where that will double our membership.
Hi, I'll be talking about YOLO FFA's monthly meetings. On the second week of every month on Wednesday, the YOLO officer team hosts a monthly meeting along with a fun activity. In past meetings, we've done a barbecue, cookie decorating, and pumpkin painting contest. After every contest, the officer team selects a prize winner. At the beginning of the year, the officer team went to local businesses to kindly ask for donations for prizes. Our officer team did receive donations from places like Subway, Mountain Mike's, etc. Thank you.
Good evening, fellow guests and members. Throughout our time as an FFA chapter, we have attended many conferences that build leadership and career development. These conferences include the 97th and 90th California State Conference, the Tulare World Ag Expo, Camp Sylvester, and Green Hand Leadership. Participants reported that they not only learned about more of FFA, but also themselves. Thank you.
Last year, on September 20th, 2025, I attended Camp Sylvester. At this camp, I got to learn more about what the FFA is and the leadership that is involved. I also got to learn more about myself. Here's where I learned how to properly do public speaking and how to communicate with other people from different chapters. I participated in activities that involved working together and stepping out of my comfort zone. Overall, my experience at Camp Sylvester was exciting and a valuable learning lesson.
Good afternoon. I will be talking more about our conferences that we have attended this year. This year, our chapter was able to attend our Green Hand Leadership Conference, which was at Fresno State. All students were able to attend this conference. Unfortunately, this year, I was not able to attend. But throughout my peers, I've heard they had great times, learned new public speaking, and were able to gain new friendships and also learn more about what the FFA has came to offer. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Aubrey Gerhart. I had the opportunity to go to the 98th State Conference. Not only was I able to go, but I was able to be a delegate. Before session started, there was a DJ that played music and everyone was dancing. Being a delegate meant that I had floor access. In some sessions, we had speakers, including Dale Brisby, a professional bull rider, Amelia Earhart, who traveled the world, and Temple Grandin, an inventor. These speakers did a phenomenal job and gave really good messages. When there wasn't sessions, you'd be able to find members at workshops. I had 2 workshops I had to attend as a delegate. One was about ag plates and discussing ways to sell more. The other was for Central Region. We went over what to expect as delegates on the nights. There was an after party that had a silent disco, which I attended, as well as sumo wrestling, photo booths, and so much more. I met so many members, including the 25 to 26 state officer team. Throughout the trip, there was a store that sold FFA merch, including blankets, pins, socks, shirts, and more. When interacting with members, several would trade pins that you could find in the store. This was such a fun experience that I hope to attend next year. Thank you.
We will be speaking more about our career development events and our leadership development events. I myself was able to attend the Credo, which was the creed, and in Spanish. Learning more about this gave me more experience how to speak with public speaking once again, and also able for me to make new friendships and learn more about the creed.
So today I'm going to be talking more in detail about the competitions that we have attended. So first off, I'm going to be starting off by talking about the Tri-Rivers Section Speaking Contest, which was an amazing experience for all of us. We did a really good job overall as a team, and we had a great time. We were served tacos, which were really good, and I enjoyed having an experience there. Second, I will be talking about the Arbuckle competition that we attended, which was also an amazing experience. We did good really overall as a team, and we excelled in speaking because we did really good. And lastly, I will be talking about the UC Davis Field Day, which was an amazing opportunity for all of us. We did really good, and all of our members did an amazing job in speaking.
Thank you.
Throughout my 2025 through 2026 school year, I got to attend various career development events and leadership events. These events include opening and closing and state FFA conference. At opening and closing, I got to compete as secretary against other chapters and see how they work together to be a cooperative team. And at state conference, I got to partake in workshops where I had to utilize my communication skills. In conclusion, at both of these events, I got to see how other teams work together, which inspired me to get more involved in the leadership aspect of the FFA organization. Thank you.
Hi, I'll be talking about our 2025 through 2026 awards banquet. This year, we'll be hosting the awards banquet on May 21st at 5 p.m. in the Yolo Middle School cafeteria. We will be serving a very exquisite dinner and will be awarding the students who excelled significantly throughout the 2025 through 2026 school year. These students will be receiving awards like the Discovery Degree, Creed, and Opening and Closing Awards. Every student enrolled in Act 2 will also be receiving a sash to wear at promotion. I would also like to take the time to invite every board member to attend our banquet. Thank you.
I'm going to be telling you guys about the Discovery Degree. The Discovery Degree is the first degree offered through FFA. It is also the only degree that is offered at YOLO, being that we are the Discovery chapter. This degree, it has very bare minimum requirements to earn. To earn this degree, all you have to do is attend one of our monthly meetings and help us with at least one of our many fundraisers that we've had throughout the year.
Oh, it's this one.
It's not my thing, bro.
Good afternoon. Once again, I will be speaking on behalf of our fair this year that we will be attending for our 2026 summer fair. This year, all Ag Mechanics 2 classes will be able to attend this year. We are able to show a goat, a lamb, and a pig, as well as you were able to raise at your home a chicken or any turkeys you would like to raise if you do have a place to hold them. Unfortunately, this year we will not be able to share our OHS farm but we will always be able to have next year. But for this year so far, we are only able to have at-home projects for us to attend. Thank you.
Interesting. By next year, we're trying to add an agro-science teacher to our program. This will double our numbers in membership numbers. Oh, I just said that twice. And our ag exploration is making a temporary vegetable garden, but by next year, we're trying to make a permanent one. We are also for ag mechanics and ag mechanics 2. We're trying to make a ag mechanic shop and trying to purchase an FFA truck. Thank you.
Once again, I would like to thank you on behalf of the YOLO FFA chapter for donating your time to let us talk to you about our chapter.
Item B, student board member report. Ms. Benicia, the microphone is yours.
Hello, everybody. I hope everybody's doing well. So for this month's report, things have been speeding up as it is now officially closing to the end of the year with only 6 weeks of school left, so yes. Starting off with some upcoming senior events, prom is officially next Saturday, May 2nd, which will be held at the theater starting at 7 p.m. Tickets are currently on sale till they run out. Senior Awards Night will also be held sometime in between the 2 last weeks of school, in which students will be invited to receive their certificates along with graduation cords, plus more. This will also be open to their families. The senior trip will be May 18th to the 20th. Students will depart at 1:45 a.m. I would also like to include that the Seal of Biliteracy ceremony will be May 12th in Modesto at the Fruit Yard Amphitheater, where students from local schools will be honored for earning their seal as they have demonstrated proficiency in 2 or more languages. So try to go out there and support if you guys can. As for our sports, currently baseball, softball, boys volleyball, track, and swimming are in full swing. Recently, Marian Quevedo, a senior in track, is the first athlete in our history to qualify for the Arcadia Invitational, which is the biggest track and field event in the U.S. Marian finished 15th out of 50 athletes in the 100-meter hurdles 2 weeks ago. As for baseball, they will also be having their senior night next Tuesday at 4 p.m. Boys volleyball is actually having their senior night today, so congratulations to those as well. Now moving to OHS FFA, starting last week, 15 candidates that had applied for a chapter office have started their interviews, in which senior officers along with admin and alumni will be scoring and voting until there are 6 candidates left, and they will be announced their earned positions at the end of the year FFA banquet on the 29th of April. That is all I have for today's report. Thank you.
Thank you. Good job. Attendance awards, item C.
Good evening, President Cabral, Superintendent Pruitt, and members of the board. So tonight, it gives me great pleasure to announce our attendance awards for the month of March. We'll start off with the best staff attendance. That is still being held by Bonita at 95.28%. Our next award is the most improved student attendance for the month of March. That goes to Oristimba High School.
Thank you.
All right, and this trophy finally got here. I thought the person didn't want to relinquish control of it. So for the month of March, for best student attendance, beating out Hunt this month by 5/100ths of a point, okay, is Herd Barrington Elementary School. Thank you.
Thanks, sir. Item E, mission and vision renewal process update.
Yes, so we have Mike Ruley here to introduce the mission and vision and the work that the district has done, along with the results and basically a report on how it went and the final, I guess, viewing of what the mission and vision would be.
Just kind of wrap it all up here. Thanks, Justin. I appreciate that. Well, welcome. Good evening, everybody. It's such an honor to be here, and I really appreciate just the opportunity to go ahead and talk to the group. You'd be popping those slides up because I'm an administrator. I don't know how to actually have a conversation. I have to have notes. There we go. First of all, FFA, that is fantastic. You guys keep up the great work there. I love hearing that. And I'll kind of come back to that point here in just a moment. But when we're talking about renewal, the idea of renewing our mission and vision here in Newman Crows Landing schools. Now, the idea with a mission or a vision statement, or what we ended up developing, which was a commitment statement, is not necessarily just to have that sentence and write that sentence down. It's the process that matters. It's the conversations that matter. It's getting everyone together and trying to decide as a group, what do we think is the most important thing for our community? Now, some school districts I've seen go all in with technology. Great. I've seen school districts go all in with sports programs, things like that, all of which are great for students. Schools have to tackle so much. You cannot do everything perfectly, and you need to pick a focus. And what was evident from the very first time I talked with Justin to the very last moment when we decided on our commitment statement was that what rises to the top in Newman Crows Landing is the community. It is the people. And throughout all these conversations, that was the most important thing that came to the top of every single discussion, is how important the people in Newman Crows Landing are. So we wanted to create an opportunity for everyone to be able to contribute into this. And Justin's first thing he said when he talked about this project was, we do not want this to be driven by administration, driven from, quote unquote, top down. This needs to be everybody's mission. Everybody gets a say, and everyone needs to be able to participate. So it was important to gather feedback from everybody, the community, our board, our students, our families, our staff at all schools, all departments within Newman Crows Landing. And I want to congratulate that admin team for really making sure that there was a pinpoint focus on making sure everyone had a voice in this. We wanted to understand our students' priorities, their needs, the assets that we could offer together as a school district, and really work together to create that shared commitment that we can all rally around. So why would we do this? Well, again, it's about developing clarity. You need to have a very clear path in front of you if you're going to accomplish anything great. We want to have alignment and really make sure that we are all on the same page, because we're going to do so much more if we are all working together rather than working in separate directions. We want to strengthen those connections. We want to build relationships and really galvanize our teams, because the work ahead is very difficult. So what did we want to have as the outcome of this work? Well, one of which is clear commitment statements, not just at the district level, but also at each individual school site renewed their mission. We want to do documents like an impact report, something that really unpacks and informs the public, and both outside Newman Crows Landing and within, on what is happening in Newman Crows Landing schools. We want to consider some updated communication, things like our website, our social media, branding, marketing, etc. And ultimately what rose to the top. And like I said, from start to finish, it was the relationships and it was the people who came across as the most important thing in Newman Crows Landing. We wanted a welcoming environment. That came out almost on every survey that we conducted. People talked a lot about wanting it to be safe, and not just physically safe, the bare basics, but also emotionally, intellectually safe, and really broadening our idea of what we wanted as safety. We wanted to focus on having good character, with really leading our students to being productive adults and really treating each other with a lot of kindness. And that's where the idea that character was prioritized over academics, because you can achieve so much with great character. And of course, inclusion of all students and promoting diversity. And there were a couple of survey questions that really came out very heavily on, we want to embrace and celebrate the diversity that we have in Newman and Crows Landing. So for the students, a little bit more specifically, the students seemed to emphasize around the importance of engaging, just having engaging and enjoyable school activities. Yes, sports, but think about how important FFA is and things like that are. Our families really wanted to prioritize that the assurance that our children are receiving strong academic instruction and the support necessary to go along with it, especially when challenges arise, along with clear communication, continued progress, and getting our kids into college, careers, and life beyond school. Now, staff emphasized the importance of having strong family engagement, and really ensuring students are well prepared for life beyond school through rigorous academics, real-world skills, career readiness, and meaningful support for all learners. And so when we boil all these down, what are 3 notes that we can take away from all of this work that we did over the last year? Well, at Newman and Crows Landing, we want our welcoming schools, we want to have pride in learning, and strength in community. Now, ultimately, we did boil this all down to, at the district level, we have one district statement. And oftentimes, doing this kind of work, I hear people having a lot of questions about, well, what's a mission statement? What's a vision statement? And so often we get lost in what's the difference between a mission and a vision because they're so similar together. So we thought, well, why have that discussion? Just move that aside and say, here is our commitment. Something that's really strong, very straightforward, and there are no questions about what it is we're trying to accomplish. And I want to read that to you now. Newman Crows Landing schools are committed to welcoming, inclusive learning environments where students feel supported, cared for, and connected. Students are prepared for future success through strong character, meaningful relationships, continuous academic growth, and real-world learning. So you think about the example tonight here with FFA. Sorry, you're just to my left and you're so easily referenceable. But I think this is such a perfect example of what it is Newman and Crows Landing are trying to accomplish. Think about the real-world learning that you have gotten out of this program. The fact that you have all stuck together so much that you're now an official cohort, and I can tell you not many schools have that. But think about this example and what this kind of a commitment statement can help us accomplish if we keep focusing on this, working together, and making sure that we are going to provide our students with the very best that they will need in order to make it successful out there in that very tough world. So ultimately, the motto, which is a little bit more of the emotional side of this, what is Newman Crows Landing all about? It's about one district where we all work together, we're all on the same team, we all stick together and help each other out, and endless opportunities. We don't want you just to be able to go out and do this one thing well. We want you to be able to go out and do a lot of things well. We want you to have choices, opportunity, and the skills needed to go out there and accomplish all of it. So with the communication piece, here's an example of a branding document that we might use here. Still in the beta phase, we're going to have to work on this, and I won't read this letter, but I was at a poetry reading one night, and the author there is Linda Scheller, who is really nationally known as a published author. She's done a lot of great work all around in a lot of different ways. Well, she talked very fondly about being from Newman. So I went up after the show and I asked her about it. I said, hey, you seem to love Newman. You've lived there for so long. Would you write a cover letter for what Newman is all about? And if you ever get a chance, I think it's beautifully written there, has a lot of heart. And she even resonated with the same things that we had talked about over the last year. Whereas in Newman, what matters most? The community, all the people involved. So as the board, what do we need from you? Ultimately, your job now is to promote the message wherever you can. That we want real world learning. We want to build our community. We want to make sure that our students have real world skills so that they can be successful. Be sure to talk to people both inside and outside Newman Crows Landing School District about what our schools are doing. So much of school success these days does revolve around public opinion and the narrative that we create for our schools. And we have an opportunity here to really create a very strong narrative using these examples that we're seeing here tonight. Schools that are winning attendance awards, things like that. We should be celebrating all of these things very loudly with people who are inside our school district and also well outside. We want everyone to know the great work that's going on here. Our job here in this room is to help clarify any questions that do come up and to motivate others to care and contribute. Because ultimately, that is Newman Crows Landing's best asset, is the fact that you care about your community, you love the community, and you want to work together to accomplish great things. And with that, Justin, is there anything else you'd like to add to this?
No, it's been a kind of a long process to get this done, but I really do appreciate the fact that we're through all the surveys, and again, we asked a lot of our staff to do a lot of surveys over the last year and a half. And the fact that it is coming from the ground up to say this is who we are and this is what we want to put forward, incredible. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. FFA members, you guys are excused if you guys would like to take off. If not, you guys stay here and listen to us for another hour. All right, item E, EV charger replacement. No, I'll let you guys go. That's fine. Mr. Vargas.
Good evening, Superintendent Pruitt, Board President Mr. Don Cabral, members of the board, and also members of our community. My name is Matt Vargas. I am our district's Maintenance and Operations Director. And for those of you that have decided to stick around, I'm going to talk to you a little bit and to our school board about our current EV charging system. To start, I want to go back to the history of the negotiation with Onyx. So back in 2016, our district negotiated a 20-year PPA agreement with Onyx Solar. The PPA stands for Power Purchase Agreement, which simply means with our own carports and solar panels, we were producing our own power, but paying the agreed rate of 14.5 cents per kilowatt hour to Onyx. Any power that could not be produced by those solar panels, we paid the higher tier to PG&E. So that 20-year agreement went into effect in September of 2017. So we are nearly 10 years in, and so we'll be starting our 11th year this year in September. And I think it's important to note that at that time, our district was kind of on the forward edge of installing electric vehicle chargers. Some schools had them, Modesto City had them. However, TurboDock was the product that was recommended by Onyx, and they didn't have a pay-to-charge option, which meant that people could charge, staff members, the community, at no cost to them, and at a very small impact at the time to our district. Well, fast forward 10 years from then, here we are today. Many people in our community are driving electric vehicles, and many are choosing to charge at our 4 main school sites. Now, back then, once again, it wasn't a huge financial cost to the district, but we've been able to assess over the last few years that the kind folks that have been coming to charge, not just during the daytime, but after hours, on the weekends, it is coming at a cost to our maintenance budget. It is coming at a cost to our taxpayers, because I want to be honest, very honest with you, that those funds would be great if we could put those back into our classrooms rather than paying them to PG&E, which is at the higher tier. So one of the problems with TurboDock in their model 10 years ago was that they didn't have the charge option. So 5 years ago, they went out of business. So as a maintenance director, my job is to maintain our facilities and maintain our current EV charging network. But it's been a challenge because I can't get parts. I can't buy new TurboDocks. They no longer exist. And other companies are very proprietary. Sure, ChargePoint will let us go with a ChargePoint unit, but not without removing all of the TurboDocks. Currently, I'll share we have about 25% of a failure rate. So out of 10 chargers, at least 2 of them are currently not working, and we're definitely due for an upgrade. That upgrade, I call it a charge for charge. So it's something that our district can not financially benefit from, but we could at least recoup our costs. Currently, this number might be shocking to many of you. It was shocking to me when we did the numbers. We spend approximately $18,000 per month at our 4 school sites, which sure gives the ability for people to come and go and charge as they please. However, once again, those funds are at the higher PG&E rate, and here's why. When Onyx installed the solar, they were very specific and did not want the EV chargers tied into the inverters or any of the production that was made. The reason is the agreement at the 14.5 cents per kilowatt hour was that we would pay that for the full 20 years, whether someone was charging or not. So the chargers actually are connected to our main campus meters at those 4 locations. We were able to assess exactly how much each charger costs our district. It was, and I can go into detail if you guys have questions, but basically we assessed it about $250 a week per charger, and that's $1,000 a month. So with 18 chargers currently in our district, at $18,000 a month, we are spending over $200,000 to maintain this network. What I'd like to at least present to the board, and you'll see it in your board backup, there is an upfront cost if our district elects and if the board supports us going out to a formal bid to update to a company like ChargePoint. And to share with you where ChargePoint is already vested, they are actually at our Stanislaus County Office of Education. So if any of you have an electric vehicle and you may have gone to the county, you can charge there using PayPal, Discover Card, Visa, MasterCard, and you pay for that kilowatt hour by PG&E. So they're also with PG&E. The difference is ChargePoint handles all of the intake of the funding. We still pay PG&E for the power that is used for those chargers, but then our costs are recouped at the end of the month from ChargePoint. So as people that pay ChargePoint, the end of the month, they cut us a check, which offsets not only our costs for the power, but it gives us a little bit of a small bank for maintenance costs, because there is maintenance costs to maintaining the solar system or the EV system. And there's also the replacement costs, which are estimated between 8 and 10 years. There's also those folks, I'm still looking for the kind individual who from Barrington drove away with one of our charging cords. And I say that because the cost to replace that cord, thankfully at the time they were still available, and I bought as many as I could before TurboDoc closed their doors. So where we're at now is if the board supports the consideration I have as board backup, we can formalize our electrical engineered plans, go out to a formal bid to an electrical engineer. And what they would do is they would, as the engineered estimate states, give us a cost not only to upgrade our 4 existing school sites, but I think now would be the time to consider adding both Hunt Elementary and Bonita, because they were too small at the time for TurboDoc to supply chargers for those schools. Plus, they don't have the carports or the infrastructure. So you'll see those additional costs. It sounds like sticker shock when you hear $300,000, but I need to share something very important in the vested value of that $306,000. We spend that one time, and what we get with that is our cost recoup after the first year. If we continue the direction we're going now, we're at a loss of over $200,000, and we would not have charging ability at Hunt or Bonita schools. So I would support the board in your questions, any comments that you want to share. I'm at a place where I'm at idle until I get direction from you and or Mr. Pruitt on the direction the board would like to go. I can tell you that just because the engineered estimate says $300,000, I have met electrical contractors who have done the work, like at the county, the city of Ripon, the city of Stockton, and they're very competitive in their bidding because they want the work. And we have some great local electrical contractors that I would not be surprised if they bidded on this work and it came in lower than what you see. And at the end of the day, it's not about the district profiting. We're not allowed to do that. We just need to recoup what we're losing right now. And as far as my maintenance budget goes, and I'm very particular, as Ms. Tapia will tell you, I don't like losing funds that can be used for things that are very important in our schools. And this is one that 10 years ago, there wasn't an impact. I can share with you there is an impact, and I would love your help in addressing it. That's all I have, unless you have any questions or comments.
Anybody have any questions for Matt?
I just had a question. Let me see. Where's my train of thought? I would like to see the metering data, and like you can show us like where, you know, how the money's coming in and stuff.
That's a great question, and I want to share with you how we accidentally kind of found out about what these chargers cost, and that's exactly what I wanted to be able to share. So it's a great question. Unfortunately, keep in mind, the EV meters are not isolated at our schools. So they are tied into our HVAC systems, our lighting, all of our controls. So there's no way to say how much is that costing us. But we had a very unique experience with Stanislaus County, who reached out to me, Mike Bateson, who's the head of their maintenance and operations. He reached out saying, hey, Matt, I can't explain it, but it seems like every month our electricity bill is going up more and more and more. We discovered that unfortunately back in 2017, Collins Electric accidentally thought that the meter for the county Head Start preschool was our meter. And that's what they connected the Von Renner chargers to. So we were able to actually turn off power over the summer to the Head Start buildings, there's 3 of them, and really watch and see with nonstop use of charging what it was costing. And we determined it was, hate to say this, but for 4 chargers, $4,000 a month. Their bill was about $6,000 a month. $2,000 of that was for their facilities. The other $4,000 was what we attributed to the charging network. So I could at least share that data with you, and those emails, I'd be happy to share that. And how we managed that was we shut them off immediately. It wasn't fair to the county to be providing PG&E payment to allow our staff and our community to charge. So we shut off the 50 amp breaker immediately. We came up with an engineered plan and worked with PG&E, and as Mr. Pruitt will acknowledge, it took a few months to go through the approval process with PG&E. What we are doing is saying, hey, we need to take the EV power off of the county meter and we need to add it to ours. And that took a lot of time in engineering. So now the county is back to their $800 a month bill. But our costs have gone up, obviously, because now we're paying for it. So I hope that at least gives you a little background of how we were able to assess those costs. I do wish we had what's called an isolation amperage monitor, which would allow us to know what are we using by the hour. Here's some great news. The ChargePoint technology has that ability. We will be able to know the hours of use on a charger. We won't necessarily know who charged, which is fine. That should be private. But we will know how long they charged, how many amps they drew. And one other thing that everyone should hear, technology has really advanced over the last 10 years. 10 years ago, level 1 was like, wow, that's fast. Well, level 1 now is nothing because they're up to level 3. Tesla has some of the greatest chargers in the world, but we didn't want to isolate to just Tesla. We want to allow anyone in our community with a Nissan Leaf, with a Chevy Bolt, we wanted them to be able to have the opportunity to charge. So I will say, in the upgrade cost that you see, we would be upgrading from a level 1, which is considered a slow charger, to a level 2 medium charger. For those of you with some electrical knowledge, basically that means we're going from 25 amps to 50 amps. 25 amps is like, it's actually more than your toaster in your kitchen. Your toaster is about 15 amps, sometimes 20. If you have an electric water heater, that's 50 amps. So we're doubling the amount of amperage going into a car. So instead of 8 hours to charge, you can charge in 3.5 to 4. So it will benefit our users and it'll benefit our district because we'll stop encumbering the costs of those who are charging. I get complaints on both sides of it, Usually when the chargers are off, I get a few phone calls, but I want to share and be very honest with the board. The number one complaint I get, and I think it's valid to share, I get calls from people saying, Mr. Vargas, can my husband come down to the SSC warehouse and fill up his truck with gas? And at first I used to act a little shocked because, well, why would we allow you to do that? And then immediately the spouse says, well, if my husband can't come and get a free tank of gas, why are people charging for free? And that's where we're at. And unfortunately, 10 years ago, we had the opportunity to be able to do that for our community because the technology wasn't there. We're one of the first districts to start EV charging. So now we have to determine, do we want to move forward, or do we want to cut our losses and say, as they fail, begin to disconnect them? And that's something that's really up to the direction of the board and our superintendent. And one last thing, I don't want you to think we haven't done something to help with this. We just recently invested in disconnect timers. And what those are, they're control timers to make sure that we can control and limit the amount of use after hours, after school is out, 6 p.m., and during the weekends. What we find is some people not only bring one car, they tell their neighbors to bring their car. And like I said, I think it's great. We're not kicking them out, but we've had no ability to control the bleeding. And I just hope you respect that these timers are just a Band-Aid. And I'll give you an example. As you guys know, you know the math, there's 30 days in a month. So if I told you 8 of those days we're turning off those timers, that right there saves us 25% of our costs. If I told you right now we charge from 6 a.m. to 6 a.m. the next day, that's 24 hours. But we can set those timers to only charge from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. That will save another 50% of daily use. So our long-term goal, of course, is to upgrade for a charge to charge, which is fair for everyone. Our short-term goal is to make sure there's money in our maintenance budget for the items that we need to support our staff, our students, and our facilities. So any other questions?
Yeah, so the EV charger replacement, like this is the upfront cost. Are there any like ongoing
Yes,
costs?
there are. And those fees we have not negotiated yet with ChargePoint. That's a very good question, and here's why. Part of the reason why we can't announce, because we really don't know, what is it going to cost to charge? Keep one thing in mind. PG&E charges, we all experience this if you are from the Newman area. PG&E charges Tier 1 through Tier 4. And depending on what time of day, they call it time of use rate, that changes what you're paying for power. So it's important to note, we can't just say, oh, we're just going to charge 30 cents per kilowatt hour, because we would then come at a loss in the evenings when they're charging more, because everyone else is also using power when they get home from work. So the assessment and negotiation with ChargePoint will go something like this. There'll be an established rate at different times of the day. And remember, ChargePoint systems will know when someone's charging and what to charge them. Remember, they only pay for what they use. There's no flat rate involved. They pay for what they charge. So if their car is mainly charged, they use it for an hour, their rate is going to be much lower than someone who charges for 4 hours, and depending on the time of day. But I made a note, it's something very important to mention, that the assessed additional fees or costs, we don't know, but we have an idea what they're going to be. We have ongoing maintenance costs. We want to factor in there what the city of Newman is doing with water meters. Take a look at your water bill. Everyone pays $5 to $7 based on your meter size for a replacement meter. Why? Those meters are $300 to $400 each. So the city has recognized that, hey, if we don't charge a little each month, then it's going to really hurt our budget when we have to replace all these old meters. So that's what we'd be doing with the system, not for profit, but for future replacement and costs. And the realistic goal would be whatever we initiate, let's say this summer, we'll probably look at doing this again in 10 years. And the reason I say that is technology is changing. The EV market is adapting and growing. It is growing. So even though our time of use can be adjusted, when I get a call and someone says, hey, I came all the way from LA, I need a place to charge, I feel their pain. I understand that. And we try to work with our neighbors in our community. But at the same time, I have to be responsible with our taxpayer dollars. And the end game here is that no one should be benefiting from electricity. No one shows up and plugs into one of our school buildings. So we're not against you coming to plug in your car, but there's going to be a fee assessed with that will be fair and at the market rate. So I hope that kind of explains.
Anyone else?
No, thank you. Derek
For this-
took my last question.
Oh, go ahead.
I'm
For
good,
this
thank you.
cost, for this, will it come out of, was it a bond or would it be?
I think that's a great question, Mr. Rivas, and because, keep in mind the bond language is important here, and the community should hear this as well. When we go to our community for a bond and we state that we're updating our infrastructure, that means electrical, that means plumbing, that means electrical networks, just like our EV chargers. So yes, not only can it financially be paid for out of bonds, but I'll share this. If someone said to me, Mr. Vargas, and I would meet with Ms. Tappy about this the first thing in the morning, hey, we're spending $200,000 to $220,000 a year right now. If I knew I only had to do that for another year and a couple months, we'll make it happen. We can do that. If we need to, we'll make cuts in other areas. But I do appreciate the fact of your question, because the bond funds align with this. And I know the oversight committee, we would involve them and make sure that they see the estimates that come in. We would then bring to you as a school board the actual lowest bidder. And if you determine that's the direction that we want to go, we can make that happen within a few months of going out to bid. And my goal would be to do it over a summer break, over a time where we have limited amount of disruption to our current usage. And one other note, we wouldn't do all 4 schools at the same time. We would do one at a time to allow 3 other schools to have the ability to provide charging for those who need it. So this is just the beginning stages of exploring costs, and depending on your direction and Mr. Pruitt, I'll run in whatever direction you'd like me to go. Thank you.
Thank you, Matt. And then, yeah, I think this is a great idea, a good opportunity for us to, go forward and get the project done. So hopefully by next meeting, you can bring us back some good information to go out to bid. Thank you, sir. Item number 8, consent calendar. The consent calendar items are routine in nature and usually do not require board discussion. Individual items may be removed by board members and presented for discussion as separate action. The consent calendar will be adopted by a roll call vote. Items I and J have been removed, going to the action items. So can I get a motion for the consent calendar as listed, minus items I and J?
I make a motion.
Thank you, Mrs. Rudy.
I'll second.
Thank you, Mr. Rivas. Mr. Walk?
Aye.
Ms. Gonzalez?
Hi.
Ms. Rudy?
Aye.
Mr. Rivas?
Aye.
And Mr. Cabral votes aye. Item 9, action items. Action item A, approve resolution number 2526/11, recognizing and celebrating staff appreciation days and weeks. Mr. Pruitt.
So this is just a resolution to celebrate and recognize our staff. I know this week is Beyond the Bell or After School Program Professionals Week, and they've been celebrated and for the wonderful work they do. We also have the Principal Appreciation Day, May 1st. School Lunch Hero Day, also on May 1st. CSEA Classified School Employees Week, May 17th through the 23rd. National School Nurse Day, May 6th. Teacher Appreciation Week, May 4th through 9th. Speech Language Pathologist Day, May 18th. So we have quite the list for staff appreciation. And again, I think when Mike really presented it, he really did show like what a community we have, and we like to honor our employees and staff for the great work they do.
Thank you, sir. Any other questions for action item A? All right, can I get a motion for action item A, approving resolutions 2526/11, recognizing and celebrating Staff Appreciation Day and weeks?
I'll make a motion.
I'll second.
Thank you, Mr. Rivas. Thank you, Mrs. Gonzalez. Mr. Walk?
Aye.
Mrs. Gonzalez?
Aye.
Mrs. Cerruti?
Aye.
Mr. Rivas?
Aye.
And Mr. Cabral votes aye, 5-0. Action item B, approve resolution 2526/12, recognizing California Student Mental Health Week. Go ahead, Mr. Pruitt.
So again, we recognize the importance of mental health, and we are celebrating that May 5th through 8th. And I believe working with Brittany Clark, is she here tonight? I don't think no. Okay, working with her and I have worked on some things to push out to make sure that everybody understands where they can go to get some help and how important it is to get the help if needed. So, thank you.
Thank you, sir. Any questions for action item B? All right, approve resolution 2526/12, recognizing California Student Mental Health Week. Can I get a motion for action item B?
I'll make the motion.
Thank you, Ms. Gonzalez. Second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Mr. Rivas. Mr. Watt?
Aye.
Ms. Gonzalez?
Aye.
Mrs. Cerruti?
Aye.
Mr. Rivas?
Aye.
Mr. Cabral? Aye, 5-0. Action item C. Approval of memorandum of understanding for the retirement incentive program for the 25-26 school year. Mr. Pruitt.
This is a program that we had funds that were, the description of the funds were for, basically it said retirement incentives. And we had an amount in there, and I believe it was $150,000. So we said that we would offer the incentive to the first 15 employees, $10,000 each that decide to retire. We worked with both our bargaining units to come up with a fair plan so that everybody had equal access to it. Out of the 18, I believe, was it 7 or 8, Dr. Seha? 7 employees did take the retirement incentive. So again, I think it was a success for those that were close to retirement and thinking about possibly retiring. So.
Thank you, sir. Questions for action item C?
So the remainder of the funds, where would it go?
They're still in the, what is the title, is it the title of the funds?
They're part of the Arts, Music, Materials Instructional Block Grant,
Yes.
which is very misleading of a name, but it's
Yeah.
the most discretionary one-time funding that we receive, and they're intended to support operating costs and specifically, as Dr. Pruitt mentioned, Dr. Pruitt, whoa, I just promoted you. Mr. Pruitt mentioned, it actually allowed districts to provide an incentive grant in the short term, not so much for the long term, but definitely for the short term.
Thank you. Any more questions for action item C?
What are the anticipated long-term cost savings of doing this?
I would say we were looking at when speaking from like a teacher perspective, probably about 40, assuming obviously that our teachers are retiring from having pretty much reached the end of our salary schedule. A new teacher will probably be about 40K or so at an entry level. Obviously, doesn't necessarily mean that every single individual that will be replacing those leaving our district will be at that cost, but that's approximately what we use to project it.
Okay.
Any other questions? Can I get a motion for action item C, approval of the memorandum of understanding for the retirement incentive program?
I'll make a motion.
Mr. Rivas? Can I get a second?
I'll second.
Mrs. Cerruti? Mr. Watt?
Aye.
Mrs. Gonzalez?
Aye.
Mrs. Cerruti?
Aye.
Mr. Rivas?
Aye.
Mr. Cabral votes aye, 5-0. Item D, approve Center for Human Services contract. Go ahead, sir.
So again, this is the Center for Human Services contract for the next school year, so the 26-27 school year. It is one-time funds through a grant, so if the grant is renewed, we can continue, but if not, then we'll have a decision on what we do moving forward after that.
Any questions for action item D?
Did I see correctly, Mr. Pruitt, that the hours are increasing for the
Yes, through this,
Okay.
we should be able to increase our hours for mental health services.
Okay, and what did you say the current impact is? We don't have an impact statement yet.
No, there is no impact statement for this year, for
Okay.
what was accomplished this year, but we did have the one for the previous year.
Okay. And that was about 200 or so students, right under 200?
Do you remember the number?
188, is that what I
188,
remember?
correct. And I think 24 groups.
That's correct.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's correct. Sorry, I'm looking.
Any other questions for action item D?
And just to bring a full circle moment, it's being paid from the Children and Youth Behavioral Health Initiative Capacity Grant. We have that one carried over for the last 3 fiscal years. I hope I'm not confusing my fiscal years at this point. But we have not been able to really make use of those grants because we have other similar grants that pretty much are within the same scope. So it's something that Stanislaus County actually has worked with us very closely to ensure that we're spending those funds. And this is one of the most allowable items that we already have in the docket, and it will be easy for us to continue to provide services without loss of services to students. So it's specifically making use of those grants for those intended, or for what's intended.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
Any other questions for action item D? Hearing none. Need a motion for action item D, approve Center for Human Services contract. Can I get a motion for that?
I'll make a motion.
Thank you, Mrs. Rudy. Can I get a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Mr. Rivas. Mr. Walk?
Aye.
Ms. Gonzalez?
Aye.
Mrs. Rudy?
Aye.
Mr. Rivas?
Aye.
And myself vote aye, 5-0. Item E, approval of Stanislaus County Office of Education 2627 master agreement. Justin?
Yeah, this is the master agreement for the services provided to us through Stanislaus County, whether it's professional development, whether it's our SARB, sending students for attendance. There's basically everything that we use at Stanislaus County for, it's listed there and it gives us our rates.
And further financial services as well.
Any questions on item E? Okay, can I get a motion for approval of Stanislaus County Office of Education 26 and 27 master agreement? Can I get a motion for action item E?
I'll make a motion.
Mrs. Strudy, thank you. Can I get a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Mr. Rivas. Mr. Walk?
Aye.
Mrs. Gonzalez?
Aye.
Mrs. Strudy?
Aye.
Mr. Rivas?
Aye.
And Mr. Robles, aye, 5-0. Action item F, approve independent educational evaluation contract. Mr. Pruitt.
This is a basically independent company to come in and evaluate a student and that's needed for that family.
Any questions for item F? All right, need a motion to approve action item F, approve independent educational evaluation contract. Can I get a motion for that?
I'll make a motion.
Thank you, Mrs. Gonzalez. Can I get a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Mr. Rivas. Mr. Walk?
Aye.
Ms. Gonzalez?
Aye.
Mrs. Rudy?
Aye.
Mr. Rivas?
Aye.
And Mr. Robles, aye, 5-0. Item G, accept the 24-25 bond measure P&X annual independent financial and performance audit prepared by Edie Bailey.
That's mine. All right. So, Mr. Pruitt, Board President Cabral, and esteemed board members, I am so happy, like you not imagine, present to you the next 3 items, particularly the 24-25 bond measure, as is item G, and then the one that follows, which is the audited financial statements. With a lot of labor and close communication with our auditors, we were able to fulfill our needs to be able to do our bond measure audit. In essence, they look at all the transactions that we have done for the past year and ensure that we are spending the money in the way that we're supposed to be spending it. We had 0 findings. We are in fact meeting exactly what our bonds are intended to be spent on. And that's really the highest highlight from that bond audit. I'm happy to take any questions.
Any questions for item G?
Congratulations on a clean audit. I'm sure
Oh,
that
thank you.
felt good.
It felt really good, especially the bonds. It's a lot of intricate ins and outs, and they're really good about testing. I will say that much. When I mean that, they peel back every inch and possible transaction out there. They really did, which is nice. It's a good learning experience given that I was only about 3 months in. So it was a good way for me to learn concurrently as being audited and being asked for all these things. So yeah, it was a fun experience.
All right, could I get an action motion for action item G, accept 2425 bond measure P&X, annual independent financial and performance audit prepared by E.D. Bailey. Motion for that one.
I'll make a motion.
Thank you, Mrs. Cerruti. Can I get a second?
I'll second. Oh, go ahead, Mr. Rivas. It's fine.
Thank you, Mr. Rivas. Mr. Walk?
Aye.
Mrs. Gonzalez?
Aye.
Mrs. Cerruti?
Aye.
Mr. Rivas?
Aye.
And Mr. Rebels, aye, 5-0. Action item H, accept 2425 audited financial statements prepared by E.D. Bailey. Ms. Tapia, do you have anything to add for that one?
I did prepare a presentation. It is a quick 10 slides.
Go ahead.
I wanted to start with the fact of the high level of who E.D. Bailey is. They've actually been auditing us for quite some time. So the good news about that is they have a deep history about Newman, which is nice to be able to have the conversation with auditors that truly know us through and through and have seen every face of our financials for the last several years. They're local. They're in the Fresno office, which they are within driving distance. When I asked them if they typically present to clients, they haven't been doing that too much since the pandemic, but they did prepare this presentation for us. So I'm going to try to do it the honor that they would have done it and give you kind of sort of an overview of the findings of our audit for 24-25. So the audit itself is split into two. The interim audit phase, we're actually undergoing the one for 25-26 as we speak. They, in essence, come into every school site and for predominantly testing attendance. They pull out sample sizes, and from there they ask for any documentation that may be needed from their own audit guide that the state pretty much sets forward every year. They also start doing a little bit of the federal compliance. They start testing certain transactions and asking for backup documentation, ensuring that we're following through with all of their federal programs. The final audit phase is pretty much the most exciting part of all this, which is in essence now they're looking at not only what they did in interim audit phase 1 and 2, but also now bringing it to the end and ensuring that they're testing a much larger sample size. The way an audit process works, if they select one sample size and it's not necessarily to the guidelines that they're using, they will select a larger sample size, and it kind of just grows from that perspective. So we always want to ensure that we're in compliance, so the smaller the sample size that they can test and move forward, the faster the audit, which is ideally what should be happening year over year. The audit report, which is 100 plus pages, I will not put you through flipping each page and showing you what exactly is in there, but just to give you the layout of it, it is broken out into these various sections, and each section kind of provides you a different, more in-depth section of the prior one. There is a lot of information there, so if you do have any questions based on your readings in preparation for this board meeting, happy to take them. I will not be going through every single page for the purposes of this item. I will say there was one new reporting requirement that all of districts had to comply with in 24-25, and that is ensuring that we are recognizing the liability of our compensated absences. The way this works is we actually work with an actuary to give us a sense of how much of a liability the district will have if every single person who has a balance of compensated absence were to walk in today and say, I want to be cashed out. So given that we're a district who retires or grows educators and just staff in general for a very long time, we have pretty massive, a pretty big liability in essence that we have to recognize, and that's just a new accounting way of showing our liabilities. It's just adding to what we're already having to recognize as a basis. So we're having to recognize our pension liability, for instance. That's just adding more liability to our books. It doesn't necessarily mean we're cutting a check. It's just a way to demonstrate that we are an understanding of what that liability will mean if anyone were to walk in and say, I want to be cashed out. The financial statements are actually broken out into these major sections. The government-wide financial statements is probably something you don't see very often. When I come and present to you all during first interim and second interim, we're really talking about our funds, right? Fund 1, Fund 13, Fund 21. And at the end of the year, our auditors, in essence, work towards a lot of work to convert what we do throughout the year into the language of the outside world, as I like to call it. So our government-wide financial statements specifically are going to show your liabilities, but also your assets. This is where all of the assets that we own are finally audited. Therefore, our bond audit comes along with that process as well. So that's really the major difference between what you see throughout the year versus what you now see in this audit report. And the notes of the financial statements are just giving you more in-depth of what the auditors did to convert our yearly reports into now an audited financial statement. And I won't go through every single one of this, but this is basically demonstrating you numerically what that meant. We are comparing it to our assets and liabilities from last year. The increases and the decreases might have changed from the last time you saw the audit financials, specifically calling out the fact that we did increase our capital assets by 2.6. Again, those are the bond projects that we have been going on for various years. Obviously, assets are a positive thing to our books, so that's a good thing to see. But I also would like to highlight that we do have the compensated absences. So they're all listed there. It did increase our liabilities by $1 million. So that gives you a good sense of what kind of absence balances we have out there from our employees. And this is a summary that you're probably more familiar with. This is the final audit. This is the audited beginning balance of now 25-26. We officially can say that we have an available reserve of 8%. We have the auditors who pretty much have determined that that is, in fact, what we have presented in good faith in our audited statements. Part of the audit, obviously, is ensuring that we're following procedures properly. I will want to highlight two areas of which we did have some findings and just some opinions. In the financial statement preparation side of the house, we were, in essence, given a significant deficiency, given with the fact that we did have some transactions that we should have cleared a couple years ago. They carry over year. Certain transactions worked in our favor, other transactions didn't. But the auditors felt it was a good opportunity to take a step back and really take a moment to address smaller things I might not have been able to address in prior years. They just wanted to test me because I was new, I think. I think that's in essence what I ended up telling the auditor. But it was a really good opportunity. Like I said, it was a really good opportunity to be able to really look at our books. We're talking about fiscal year 22-23, so you can imagine how many years of spreadsheets I had working with to kind of figure out the carryover of an issue that they wanted to pinpoint. They did feel that it wasn't a weakness necessarily, it was just a deficiency in not only in the current year, but obviously in prior years. I did ask them, you did audit prior years, what happened there? Like, you're gonna hold me accountable, I should hold you accountable. But they basically realized that they just took a closer look because obviously you have a new CBO, you have a relatively new superintendent, and I had a new fiscal analyst who kind of joined halfway through the process. So they really did widen their scope when they were looking at things, and this is what came of it. We are pretty much done a lot of work, hence why I'm presenting to you this in April and not December 15, which is what typically gets done. We wanted to take the time to clean up our processes and clean up the books as best as our abilities. So when we don't address something in financial statements, they carry forward, as you can see, for many years, and it's very difficult to find it. It takes some time and effort, but we're in really good shape. I think we're in really good shape to do the 25-26 audit in a way that we have a really good starting point. And like I said, they're already working on 25-26. Federal compliance, no findings. I'll leave it at that. It's a big deal. We have had a lot of federal money come and go from districts, and it's a pretty big deal that we haven't had any findings actually in the federal side in quite some time. So that's a good thing. And state compliance, as I mentioned, they do test sample size. They happen to select sample size of students, and what they did in this specific process was pull out income eligibility applications, and then they compare it to how we classified students. We classified students in 3 categories. We classify them as free, reduced, or paid. It happened to be that the ones that they selected, they were misclassified. They widened the sample. It was misclassified once again. So in essence, they were able to pretty much form an opinion that we did have a weakness in this state compliance piece of misclassification of unduplicated pupil counts, which ultimately ended up impacting, that's a fiscal impact of our LCFF. It is specifically targeting a little bit more of the concentration grant and about 9,000 of supplemental. They have formulas, in essence, that gets down to the numbers. The way this works is now that we are doing our attendance reporting, we will see this adjustment happen in this current year. So although we're not cutting a check, it just kind of goes against whatever revenue we're expected to receive in the future. And that's the end of it. Any questions? Sorry, I went fast.
Thank you, ma'am. Action item H, accept 24-25 financial audited statements prepared by Addie Bailey. Can I get a motion for action item H?
I'll make that motion.
Thank you, Mr. Rivas. Can I get a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Mrs. Cerruti. Mr. Walk?
Aye.
Mrs. Gonzalez?
Aye.
Mrs. Cerruti?
Aye.
Mr. Rivas?
Aye.
And Mr. Cabral votes aye, 5-0.
And the next item is mine. So the next item is actually related to this current fiscal year. So now I'm bringing you to this fiscal year. It is a 25-26 administrator to teacher ratio. Education code basically sets limits, and depending on our district size, how many administrators to teachers, every 100 teachers we can have. Ours is 8 administrators to 100 teachers. They provide a very prescriptive formula, which apparently resets the calculation. So when I first uploaded, apparently uploaded and reset my spreadsheet or my document, so I apologize for that. In essence, we look at our administrators and those classifications that fall within each administrator and compare it to every 100 teachers that we have. We meet the minimum, so we are actually in compliance here. And this is important because we actually provide this to our auditors for 25-26. And it's just one of those checkboxes items to ensure that we are, one, having a conversation about it, and two, that we are continuously looking at this ratio.
Thank you, ma'am.
Yeah.
Any questions for action item I? Okay, I need a motion for action item I, approve 25-26 administrator to teacher ratio. Could I get a motion for that?
I'll make a motion.
Thank you, Mrs. Cerruti. Can I get a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Mr. Rivas. Mr. Walk?
Aye.
Ms. Gonzalez?
Aye.
Mrs. Cerruti?
Aye.
Mr. Rivas?
Aye.
Mr. Cabral votes aye, 5-0. Action item J, approve purchase and sale agreement between the City of Newman and the Newman-Crozana Unified School District, real property adjacent to Park Avenue and Materi Field. Mr. Pruitt.
Yep. Purchasing this property has been kind of a long journey. Kind of an interesting story. I was told many, many years ago by a teacher that worked in our district over 45 years, I believe, Mr. Cantor, who has passed away. And he told me this crazy story about him and Mr. Cantrell, I believe. And there were the property lines where there was a parking lot, like telephone poles with a cable that went through it, and they wanted to build a baseball field. So in the 1960s, they picked up those property markers and moved them back. Nobody really knew it happened, and they built the varsity baseball field. So most of us thought that property, which is all of right field and center field, was the district property. Part of that parking lot, the gravel parking lot, was the district property. Fast forward to today's time with the apps, and you could pull up a thing called OnX. It's an app that shows you the property lines and who owns what property. And Materi Park is actually supposed to be expanded almost all the way to second base, all the way past that. That is actually Newman's property. Well, the city of Newman really doesn't want to take that from us, and we kind of need a baseball field. So that's what started the negotiation process through that. We offered a price, they counter-offered, and then we negotiated back and forth to create a sidewalk to go along the tennis courts along that road so that both the school and the city can use it. They dropped their price, so that would kind of cover half that sidewalk. We can cover the other half. So that's how we came about the price of it. And then the city also wants to make sure, because when they have their events there, and if we close our double gates, it becomes a one-way road and there's no way to come back. So they really want to ensure long-term that they're able to hold events and turn around, and we want the same. It's one community. I know our motto is one district, but it really is one community, and we need to work together, and we can provide that for the city as well as improving our facilities. So I am recommending that you approve the purchase of this property.
Any questions for action item J?
And to confirm, Mr. Pruitt, this is with bond money, correct?
Yeah, that was one of the first calls I made, is how we would negotiate it. I made a call to our bond company, and it does fit within the description for measure X, measure S, and measure T, and they did confirm that you can buy property to update facilities. So, yes.
All right, any other questions? All right, can I get an motion for action item J, approving the purchase and sale agreement between the City of Newman and the Newman Unified School District, real property adjacent to Park Avenue and Materi Field?
I'll make that motion.
Thank you, Mr. Rivas. Can I get a second? Thank you, Mrs. Rudy. Mr. Walk?
Aye.
Ms. Gonzalez?
Aye.
Mrs. Rudy?
Aye.
Mr. Rivas?
Aye.
And Mr. Cabral votes aye. 5-0. Action item is going to be K, the previously moved over. Action item I of the consent calendar is approval of declaration of need for fully qualified educators. Dr. Sahel, you want to talk on that one?
Okay, so each year we come to you with this declaration of need for fully qualified educators, because at times as we're filling positions, vacancies that come up, we may not have fully credentialed teachers. So in order to be able to hire someone on what's called a short-term staff permit or an internship or a provisional intern permit, we need to come to you with this declaration of need. It needs to be approved. What would happen is it doesn't necessarily mean that we need all these positions at this time. It's here just in case, for example, at this point, we put in here that we need 4 resource teachers. We don't have any resource teaching vacancies at this point right now. So we would not necessarily need these 4 teachers that we're stating here. If we look at TK, for example, we do have a TK teacher because of the new requirements. It doesn't have all the requirements met, currently working on them. We flew her position last year. She was in fact, she was the only applicant at that time, so we brought her in with this understanding. And so we placed these items here in case we need to fill vacancies based on some of these needs. Now, the other thing, like for example, on one of these, there's the CLAD English Learner Authorization. Currently, all our teachers are authorized with either a CLAD or some sort of authorization to teach EL. If for some reason we end up hiring someone that doesn't meet that requirement, then we have it in place that we're able to do that. Now, we always go out and look for certificated, preliminary or professional credentials in place. Unfortunately, when we start talking like special ed, mathematics, those are areas that statewide we have needs in, so at times we need to hire teachers with either those short-term permits or an intern program or a provisional permit. What we've been doing here in Newman is we do attend several job fairs. For example, this year, myself along with other staff have attended job fairs at Stanislaus County Office of Education, Stanislaus State, and Teachers College of San Joaquin. Trying to find fully credentialed teachers to bring into our district for positions that are vacant. If we are not able to find one, then we want to have the opportunity to be able to bring someone into a position, because we feel that having them with one of these provisional permits allows us not to keep hiring subs throughout the year. So that's the reason we go to this. Just so you're aware, a lot of these teachers that we have on like the short-term permits are grown within Newman. So we have, for example, RBTs, instructional aides, classified staff that have kind of gone through the ranks and moved into a teaching role. They got their bachelor's degree, have some requirements still to complete to get either an internship program or their full credential. We bring them on board. Now, in order to get some of these authorizations, there are certain requirements that the teacher does need to meet in order to be in those classrooms. So that's why we bring this to you. It doesn't necessarily mean that these positions are open right now. It just means that should the need arise, we have the opportunity to be able to hire these individuals.
Thank you, sir. Any questions for Dr. Seha? All right, can I get a motion to approve action item K, the declaration of need for fully qualified educators? Can I get a motion for that one?
Make a motion.
Thank you, Mr. Rivas. Can I get a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Mrs. Rudy. Mr. Walk?
No, I really just struggle with the resource specialist position, having 4, it's just, so those are some of our most vulnerable students, so I think we really need to put the effort in to try and get them fully credentialed teachers.
Ms. Gonzalez?
Aye.
Mrs. Rudy?
Aye.
Ms. Rivas?
Aye.
Ms. Cabral votes aye, 4-1. Action item L is going to be district office specialist job, updating job description. Mr. Pruitt.
Yeah, this is just an update to the job description. There were some duties on there listed that the person currently does not do, and then so we removed those from that. And there is some possibly some duties added to it for next year. And again, this is just we routinely look at job descriptions to make sure it accurately describes what that person is doing, and we update them. That's really all this is. And I think it also listed the director of human resources as a supervisor, where it really is the assistant superintendent of human resource. So it's just updating the wording and what the person is doing. It is not a new position.
That was gonna be my question. If it was a new position, but it's not, it's just, okay.
Just updating the job description.
All right. Any other questions for action item L? All right. Can I get a motion for action item L to approve the district office specialist job description? Can I get a motion for that?
I'll make a motion.
Thank you, Mrs. Rudy. Can I get a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Mr. Rivas. Mr. Walk?
Aye.
Ms. Gonzalez?
Aye.
Mrs. Rudy?
Aye.
Ms. Rivas?
Aye.
And Ms. Cabral votes aye, 5-0. Future agenda items. Anybody have anything for the future agenda items? Do we have anything coming up? All right. Item number 11, superintendent report. Mr. Pruitt.
Yeah, I have a couple things. First of all, again, I want to thank the Beyond the Bell for their great work with our students, and again, award-winning programs consistently outperforming every year and every time. So it's just always exciting to see what they do. The next is a lot of our events at the high school. It's going to be a lot of those last time events for our seniors. And for our seniors that are here tonight, this is one of the last times that you get to procrastinate as a senior, as it is the last night you can attend a school board meeting for your government class, correct? So again, we should probably be ready for that at the end of each year, because we always have to put out extra chairs for our seniors that wait until the best meeting, which is the last meeting, right, that you can attend. So we appreciate you guys being here and being part of it. Another one is the mission and vision, and I think you got to kind of see the passion that Mike really presented with, and he really does get that from our community. And again, we really did find out that really our community is what we put as a priority here, and we want to keep moving that forward. And as far as our commitment statement, not our mission and vision statement. And then we have, I will be working with Matt to kind of move forward to get a better price and possibly start doing the engineered estimates kind of thing to get that started to bring more information back to you. And then one of the most important things is our staff appreciation picnic, which is going to be on the 27th of this month, which is next Monday, at what time?
2 o'clock.
2 p.m. We are having an ice cream social, and each site is going to be kind of presenting their mission and vision statement from their site. So it'll be kind of an unveiling of that, and we get to honor some of our employees. And I heard some of the counts for how many years some people have been in our district, and it's pretty incredible on truly how committed our staff is to our community.
Where's the location on that?
It will be at YOLO.
Can you send out a reminder to the board, please?
We will. And that is all I have. Thank you.
Thanks, sir.
2 o'clock, you said?
2 o'clock, YOLO.
Board reports, Mr. Walk.
Yeah, so I was able to do some senior interviews, and it was a lot of fun. As someone who's a high school teacher, being able to go and hear from seniors, hear kind of what their plans are for the future, and then what they've done throughout their high school career was really great. So I enjoyed that, and then YOLO FFA. Not a lot of middle schools have FFA chapters, so I think it's really cool that Newman allows the middle school to be part of the FFA program and part of the state program as well. So thank you for your presentation today.
Mr. Rudy?
Good evening, everybody. I just wanted to just give a quick little thank you to those teachers that are retiring or moving forward. I don't know if those are here or not, but just thank you for the amount of years you dedicated to the district, and hopefully in this new adventure that awaits you, you guys find some kind of peace and time with your loved ones. So thank you for the many years of dedication to the district. Also, the senior interviews. There's one senior in here that I did her interview. Just good luck out there. And Oristimba has some really good seniors. So it's very nice to see some good students. YOLO also, your FFA, it's very nice to see them get started this young as a ag business owner. It's very nice to see young students getting an interest in ag. And I know you guys talked about a vegetable garden or whatnot. Please look for me. I think I know someone that can help you. So we would love to contribute some way, somehow. So please don't be shy. Call us. We'll help. We're willing to help. And then also I was able to look at the new math curriculum at the district office. So I just wanted to say that I'm excited to skim through those books. It brought back a lot of memories from when I was learning math. So it's a little exciting for these kids to get back on the track of math. And then for the vision for the district, as a student through the district, it's nice to hear the community, because I know when we were in Von Renner, the community was a big part of school. And I think if we can get that community back into our district, it can make a huge difference. I know when we were going through school, it really helped. So that's exciting. And then Matt, thank you for all the information. There's a lot of clarification that we needed, and I think that helped a lot. And then Ms. Claudia, thank you for always being up here and trying to speak volumes for everybody. We are working, we are trying, and I think our team is doing pretty good. So, we're moving along. Yes. And I think that's all I got. Just it's the end of the school year almost, and I know that emotions and feelings and anxiety and all that stuff is kind of all over the place, but just it'll be good. And thank you to everybody in the district for working hard with these kids and getting them to where they need to be, especially these students that are going to go off into the real world. So good luck.
Thank you, ma'am. Mr. Rivas.
Thank you, Mr. Cabral. I got to attend the LCAP meeting with Ms. Vargas running it with Ms. Gonzalez. I was in the back corner, but then I was realizing, I'm a parent as well. And coming up and seeing that everyone's goals pretty much all the same. And there's some eye-opening things that, the community members picked, the staff picked. So we'll work our best to try to get some of those back on track. Mrs. Clark's not here. I did my first blood drive ever with Ms. Diaz. She was with me. Miss Suffolk's not here, but she was with me as well. That was pretty cool. Sitting in there with some students that do it every year. Somebody said, "Oh, students just come here to get out of class," but there was some in there that I could tell they needed escort because they were getting a little dizzy. And I do want to apologize to the Orstema staff, or the Orstema, for my father-in-law just riding his bike on campus. He used to be a probation officer years and years ago, so he thought he can do whatever he wants to do. So what else was there? It's been we've been busy. I also got to do the senior interviews as well. The senior group, this is probably the best senior interviews I did this year. I gave a lot of 50s because these kids were focused, great speakers. Eye contact was really important with me, and everybody just kept eye contact, and it was great to see. And like you guys are doing now, I like to see it. Good job for that. Edward, Ms. Palacios, Matt, what I got at FFA, you guys better find some room for a farm because it looks like we're going to have to find some room over there, hopefully. I want to congratulate Mr. Walk on his newborn child, 14. Congratulations on that. And also, if I don't see you guys, all you mothers, happy Mother's Day. And seniors, enjoy it. You only got, I think I saw somebody say 38 days left. Enjoy it, okay? Enjoy the prom. Don't get in trouble. Just enjoy it. I think that's all I got. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Kind of go piggyback with what everybody already has said is special thanks to Ms. Tapia and our financial team, because over the last 2-3 months, we've been crunching numbers and we'll be fighting for every cent we could possibly find out of every coffee can, and like I said, the outcome is a lot better because of all the hard work that district office has done to reduce the amount of people that are potentially going to be let go, right? We're fighting every single day to try to, the very least amount of impact we possibly can, and to look at every avenue of early retirements, every single different thing we can to save at least one person's job if that's what we had to do. You know what I mean? So a special thank you to all your team. Mr. Vargas, man, I don't know how you do it, bud. I've known Mr. Vargas for a very long time, and he's probably one of the fewest individuals that works harder than me. I work 8 days a week, and I guarantee you he probably works 8.5. I call him at 2 in the morning. Got you, I'm there, right? Again, all the projects, all the construction, all the bond funds that are going to good use for a lot of students at our campuses is tremendous. Always trying to upgrade our facilities. Just doesn't, have a way of just saying thank you. And then last thing is the next board meeting is on May 11th, and that's after that it's graduation. So we did have a special board meeting last week where we approved the contract for the Orstema High School track project. That's going to be an amazing project, right? I can't wait till the high school complex gets finished built out, because we've got a good plan to get it all built out. It's just going to take a little bit more time, but we're almost there, right? But it's definitely going to be top notch. That's all I had for tonight. Last but not least, Mrs. Gonzalez.
Thank you, Mr. Cabral. I thought maybe you forgot about me.
No, they change up the order on these things every single month. So,
I see that. That's
I like to
okay.
go last. But.
I think everyone has almost touched on everything I was going to say, but that's okay. I just wanted to comment, Claudia. I remember the very first time you approached me in the playground and you told me I don't think I could ever stand in front of that podium and speak. And so it's so inspiring to see you here month after month and just really share your heart. It's courageous. It's amazing to see you grow as a leader and to speak for everyone. So thank you. I also got to attend the senior interviews, which were really fun. It was my first time being able to do that, and everyone was dressed to impress. I've sat in interviews like at my job several times, dozens and dozens of interviews, and some people would come in flip-flops and tank tops. Not any of the seniors at our school. No, you were all suited up and very well spoken, very confident. It was a pleasure to meet everyone that came to my table, and it was really fun to have a community volunteer alongside me and share different perspectives, so that was cool. I also got to attend the Ag Day with Von Renner as a parent chaperone, which was really fun. Got to go with my son and a group of all of his little friends, so you can imagine a bunch of first graders. It was a fun experience, but we got through the day and back to Von Renner all in one piece. Let's see, what else was I going to say? I think, oh, the LCAT meeting, yes. Thank you, Mr. Rivas, for sharing that. Feels like that was so long ago, but it's always so nice to see all of the people that come to that meeting. I know Mrs. Vargas has some plans to really expand it and make it even better, which feels like, I don't know how you can, but she has shared some ideas on how we can expand it and make it bigger and bring more of the community to the event, because it is really effective and really neat to see, like Mr. Rivas said, all of the different ideas that get pulled together and all of the parallels that really exist even amongst, a room of 50 people. So always really neat to see that. But it is almost May, so we'll all be busy here pretty soon and a bunch of more events. And as Mrs. Schrudy said, it's always kind of an emotional and special time of the year. So look forward to seeing you all there. And please say hi if you see us. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. And with that, meeting will be adjourned till next month, May 11th at 7:44 p.m. And seniors, go ahead and come on up if you need your notes signed.